we have a very interesting workshop on PLG. And thank you, Kavya, for this, but I'll be using your joke. Now that we're done with the theory, we'll be working on the practical side of things. And apparently there's an exam as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see this. So workshop on PLG conducted by Manoj Agarwal and the DevRev team. Manoj is the co-founder and president of DevRev and a former executive of Nutanix, where he led several engineering teams for over 7 years and was part of the team that led the company to its IPO in 2016. Manoj graduated from IIT Kanpur and worked in several technology startups and well-known brand names like SanDisk before he joined Nutanix. Manoj stepped down from the SVP engineering, where he was leading all cloud efforts to found DevRev, along with Dheeraj Pandey in 2020. So would like to just invite Manoj and Dheeraj.
Back, can you hear me? Do you want to stand up maybe? Like, it's been like more than an hour. Let's stand up. Let's do some exercise. Get your phone out. And we have few questions that are coming here. Maybe you can take a picture and start responding to that. Can we put some questions here? So there is a Slido. So we'll do some quizzes here. What is the first one? Or you want to keep it here just so that people can take the Slido? Now feel comfortable. Whenever you want to sit, you can sit also. Because here's the first question. And you can start responding now. What is PLG? Love it. There's no packet loss gap, pressure liquefied gas, programming language group, peace, love, and Godspeed. That's like winning. I'm sure like you all know what is. That's awesome. PM-led growth. Well, I definitely thought that you don't need a lesson on the PLG. And let's get to the next question. I hope that you are all awake now. What is the next question? What apps, like all applications that you use right now in the course of just building your company, especially with respect to engineering, with respect to cloud ops, with respect to even if you have a customer support function and if you have sales and marketing, what all tools that you use today? I love it. At least Slack is right there in the middle, big one. GitHub, Jira, Notion. The theme is emerging. There is Adobe also, Dheeraj. AWS. I see DevRev. I'm sure that there are a few people here from DevRev. Jira, Gmail, WhatsApp. I'm assuming that WhatsApp for customer support, maybe, just interacting with your customer. So clearly, GitHub, I see right at the middle. But the point is, there are lots of tools, systems that you're using today in the course of just building your company. Be it engineering organization, be it customer support organization, just to be able to connect with your customer today. Still coming. Figma is also coming. Well, there are quite a few people who have responded here. At least the theme is there. Is there any other question that we have? Okay, here's the third one. What does PLG mean to you? And choose as many as applicable to you. So self-service, there was a question on the SLG versus PLG. So there's some theme there. Like there is no right or wrong answer, by the way, on this one. And what you clearly see that as a PLG motion, self-serve product is extremely important. So if you're going out with them in the market, must have self-service, must have maybe a freemium version of the product also, so that people can just try it out of the box. What else? The sales and marketing can be a complementary force to PLG company. Yeah, definitely at scale as you get go from 0 to 1. 0 to 1, not necessarily the first usage of the product, probably you don't need the sales there, but at certain point that you definitely need that as you get into the mid-market and enterprise. Awesome. So now that you are all awake, we can talk about the real stuff. What is PLG? I don't think, just roll in. Thank you so much for responding with everything here. So what we are going to very quickly touch upon, which all of you already know, is what does this decade and next looks like. Like if you look at the last decade, it was all about like how was the procurement done? It was done by the C-suite, like big deals that were made, as opposed to right now what you're seeing is the end user first use the product, they have to love the product. Once they start loving the product, they will start going to take it out to other people. They'll invite other people to use it. When they like it, and if they start seeing that there is enough value out of it, then probably they're going to swipe the credit card and start paying you some money, right? So it's all becoming that end user who is making the decision right now. And the other thing that you see is large upfront commitment that used to happen, like 3 to 5 years of kind of commitment upfront, 9 months of POC. That is kind of things of the past now. We just spoke about that you do need a product which is like the freemium, and I'm going to pay you when I use it more and more with you. So that's what I'm going to pay. And the third thing, that sales-led versus product-led, clearly there is a point to be made. The product-led, the growth and all what you see, it takes time, a lot more time really to establish a product. But once it gets there, it is most certainly the better way to really go to market with. And just the valuation of the companies who are going to be product-led versus sales-led, if you get it right, Wall Street gives you easily 10x more valuation. And there are tons of companies that you can recognize from here who have built the brand at scale doing PLG. And their valuation with the same revenue with the company which are running the SLG, you can clearly go and see it, it is 10x, close to 10x difference. A team who is also doing the cloud ops for you, which is managing your incident management, on-call management, and so on. And you need a separate system for that, like PagerDuty, for example, or Jira Service Desk that you need. Like on the build quadrant, definitely you have Jira Atlassian, you use GitHub issue tracker, but you are managing issues at that point with the developers. As you grow, like you have the customers, very soon you have the need for the customer support. Now customer support, like a lot of people start out with the WhatsApp, they start out with the Slack, but very soon that you realize that it is very, very hard to really manage the number of customers that are coming, their SLAs on the questions that are they're asking. So you very soon need a ticketing management system. And this is where like you might be using Freshdesk, you might be using Zoho, you might be using Zendesk, you might be using Salesforce Service Cloud based on the size of the company. But it's again another system that you go and buy, and different set of people that you have. And the fourth one, like once you have the customers, now you're thinking about, okay, how do I really grow my business? How do I grow my user base? And this is where definitely there is sales, marketing, lots of angle that comes in here. But again, different set of systems. Here you're looking at opportunities as an object. Your customer becomes opportunity. The customers who are already in the system, how do you really grow them? That they don't churn. Can you really bring more services to them for them to really buy more and more from you? So that definitely becomes, so this is where that you hear about the CRM systems, like whether it is Salesforce, whether it is Microsoft Dynamics, whether it is Zoho also, quite a few people use for that as a CRM. So what you're seeing here is there are lots of systems or complexity as the size of your team grows, as the size of your customer base grows, that you have to go and invest. It's very naturally that happens. And today, there is nothing that exists which can help you. If you had just one system, let's say, at the end of it, what I see in this all four things, there are people inside the organization, they are doing work, and they are doing work for what? They are working for the product, and they are working for the end user. That's what they're doing. And you wonder, like, why do I need so many different disparate systems for that? Because of the journey that we just go through. Initially, we didn't need it. But as the complexity grew, that we needed all these different systems. So there is a case to be made, especially as we think about, can we really run this at scale, just the way that we are running it today? Like you are 5-people team, that you are able to run it. Why can't I run it at scale also? Can I stay product-centric? Can I stay end-user-centric? Can I really not go and hire all those people that are needed to really just connect these systems? Just the conversation between the different quadrant, different departments that you have. How many of, I'm sure that you have not just like in the course of this company, but your previous company, everywhere else that you have worked. How many program managers that you hire, how many release managers you hire, how many technical program managers that you hire. And their job is what? A lot of people that you find in the companies, they ask 2 questions that I find it all the time, which is it done? And when will it get done? Have you heard this? You see that all the time. Is it done? When will it get done? And you wonder, why can't system answer this question? Can the system say that, you know what? Dheeraj checked in the code last night. It is going through the pipeline. It is at the 3rd stage of the pipeline. 5 tests have passed. It's at the 6th test right now. And based on the expertise of Dheeraj, he just started to learn the full stack. And past history, prior history, complexity of the issues, I can also predict that in the next 5 hours, this issue will be resolved and deployed in production. Now we are talking. I mean, why not? If you have data, if you can bring this data into the system, the system should be able to answer it. You don't have to go and ask people all around. So this is what is going to be the, if you start thinking about it, can we really make it true convergence of all these systems, if they can come together and can start answering this? So what I'm going to talk about in the next few slides is customer interactions, which is the end user, and end user to all the way, if you have to come to the developer. How do you really short circuit this whole interaction between the two ends? So end user starting a conversation, coming all the way to the developer. I mean, going and fixing some things. And when the end user fixes it, that reverse path also is established wherein they start getting the information very, very quickly. So that customers knows that, okay, you know what, things are happening and it is getting closed. So before that, what I want to talk to you about is product centricity. How do you really build your organization such that every work that happens in the organization, doesn't matter which quadrant that you're coming from, whether you're coming from build, whether you're coming from operate, whether you're coming from customer support, whether you're coming from the growth quadrant, they're all working towards the product. And when you think about product, especially coming from the development side, we talk in terms of like microservices, a component, and library. That's the way that we talk about. This is what you see on the left side of this product. Product is at the center. On the left side, that you see all these microservices and components and libraries. And on the right side, what you see is what customers consume, which is what? There is capabilities, there are features, there could be sub-features. That's what they consume. And there is this one to many, many to one, all kind of like the connections that exist on how the features is developed, like being served by 10 microservices or 2 microservices or this library or that library. But everything, when you think of it in terms of product centricity, this is the way that the world should look like. Now, if I go to, let's say, one of the product, in this case, the capability, let's say this, here we are talking about the payments as the capability. What should it contain? Like what all information, if I come here, that I should be able to get? So it should have, first of all the connectivity that exists, like all these different product parts that it connects to, how many people work on this particular capability to bring to the market. So the capital allocation information that you should be able to go and get. How many issues, which is like the developers are working on with respect to this particular feature or capability that is going out, and how many tickets that are also filed, which also gives you the sense that, okay, how many customers are asking for things to be fixed in this. Again, what you see on the top there, if customer has a question with respect to this product, which they have initiated a conversation, can I also get it here? If I can, let's click on it. Can I really have this live conversation with the customers right from here? If I'm able to do that, let's say in this particular case, the customer is asking for a feature request. Now the natural tendency for us will be, I'll have to go and create a ticket first so that I can do the entire SLA management. Today, just to do this, you will have intercom, you will have like connection with the, let's say, Freshdesk or Zendesk or some other ticketing systems. That's where you bring the information. So let's say in here, I want to go and create a ticket. So on the command line, I'm just saying, create ticket. All the metadata associated with this conversation can get transferred to the tickets. You can easily create this ticket. And what you're seeing here, one more thing, it is product-centric. So it knows this ticket belongs to this particular product part. It is linked already. This conversation is already linked to this ticket. So you know anytime that you have to refer to it, you can go back to that conversation. And so let's say you have created this ticket. Now the next thing just comes, how do I really get it to the developer team, the build team, to start working on it? So the next thing, by the way, what you also see is customer is getting this information in real time. The moment the ticket got created, that information also got transferred to the customer through the same conversation. Now, I need to figure out if I need to go and create an issue. I can do the internal conversation with people, and then with one click almost, I can create an issue from here for the development team. So let's do that. Now that I have created a new issue, what is the next thing that you think should happen? I mean, definitely if somebody is sitting in the middle here looking at the ticket, first thing you see all these links to the conversation, links to the issues that are all established in the tickets. So you know that one side was the customer, the other side is the developer that I'm connected to. The second thing that you see here is the changes that happens on the issues on the development side. All those keystrokes that are happening, tickets, the issue states as it is changing, can I really bring that information back to the tickets? Can I bring that back to the customer conversation also? So what you're seeing here, the very, very first thing is that when the change happened, when somebody started working on it, a PR was raised. We are collecting all these events coming from the GitHub, let's say in this case. And that also we are collecting, it is kind of showing you also that how it is going from the stages, from started to write the code, to start to get in the code review phase, to getting into the testing phase, going to the deployment phase. As this is happening, these events are all coming in this system, and it's getting into the issue tracker directly by machine. The ticket this issue at some point is going to get resolved. When it gets resolved, the information gets transferred to the tickets, and that information then can get transferred to the customers. Now just think about just doing this. There are so many humans today, or people are involved. That question, is it done? When will it get done? That question so many times that needs to be asked. A lot of time basically just the prioritization itself is a hard problem. What you are seeing here in a converged system where you have these tickets, issues, conversation, everything that is happening at the same place, that you could build something like this where the information goes all the way from developers to the customers almost in real time, and at the end, even customer acknowledging that, okay, if it is all good, you can bring that love back to the developer also. I mean, this is true convergence. And more and more you think about it, that when we talk about dev and rev coming together, this is something truly bringing these two sides together in this system. So I don't know if you like this, but this is, just think about it, what you were able to do today in the room, just talking with each other. Someday that your people are going to be geographically dispersed, your customers are going to be all over the place, and all that conversation, if you could do that in this system in real time, that will be the true product-led, true user-centric thing. So now what I want to show you, the next, what happened, what I'm seeing here is these tickets and these issues as they get closed. I mean, you see that one by one, the issue is getting closed, and then you have the conversation that kind of the customer said that, okay, I'm good, and then you can go and close the tickets. All of this just can happen in one system. You don't have to go to three different systems.
Are you okay to take question?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's okay. One question. So are you going to replace Slack, Jira, XYZ and say move here? Is that the pitch? Or this hooks into the Jira, Slack, Zendesk seamlessly, and so it's yet another tool in the system. So where does this fit in?
I mean, there are founders in this room, a small team. They can just go and start with right here. I mean, they can grow with this system as they go from building the product to start operating the product in the cloud, to start doing the customer support, and someday that also the growth, the entire thing that comes here. So you are right in that sense that you don't really need a Jira, you don't really need even GitHub issue tracker, you don't need. You will not need a customer support systems, you will not need an intercom, because we'll also provide that hook here. Now, for the companies who already have it, we do provide the migration from, let's say, Jira or GitHub issue tracker in here, but we also live with it. I mean, side by side, which means that we'll provide you two-way sync until you feel comfortable. That, okay, now I feel comfortable, my organization feel comfortable, I really love this product, and you can, at that point, you can say, okay, I just want DevRev to be my thing.
On this two-way sync thing, and Molly's spouse, he works at Nutanix, has been in sales for the last 8-9 years. We used to have a $2 million mug. Remember that $2 million mug? Which was, you keep this, when a VMware salesperson shows up, you put a Nutanix mug in there, and all of a sudden you get 40% more discount or something. So to sit next to incumbency is also very important for people to go negotiate better with the incumbents. And at the same time, we are also very mindful that you won't change overnight if you're a mid-market or a large enterprise. We're having discussions very large, the largest Bank of India, or one of the largest software companies in the world. We are not being arrogant to say we need to replace it right away. But for smaller startups, you don't need any of these other tools.
Yeah? We definitely are using this to run all our business at DevRev. So we have 130 or so people now.
When you say these, are you using DevRev or you're using Slack?
We use DevRev.
So one thing about Slack, I want to say that if you look at the funnel of ideation to ticketing to resolving tickets, the top of the funnel is still ideation and conceptualization. Ideas become concepts, and we're not in that space. So if you want to conceptualize, idealize, you can use Figma, Notion, Google Docs, Slack, all this stuff. When work becomes concrete is when we come in. So we want to be in the lower half of this, where you need a system of record, not just a system of engagement and conversations and chatting, but at some point, prioritization, allocation of resources, responsibility, accountability, all that stuff starts to come in. So we'd rather be in the lower half and leave the upper half. Now, that doesn't mean that at DevRev we're not using some conceptualization in the ticket or the issue or whatever, but there'll be many ideas that are so amorphous right now that they would rather use some other thing. And you would need a structured rich text editor of Notion or Google Docs or something for those things as well, yeah?
Yeah. Great questions. So I'll just leave you with this last slide, which is, as you grow, the complexity will grow, as long as that you focus on your end user and everything product-centric, and keep your developer at the center of it. This convergence, true convergence, is what is going to really last longer. And now this is a new concept that definitely we're bringing in, but the convergence is there today. Can you really keep that converged as you grow? So with that, I'll invite my colleague, Prithvi, who is going to run the workshop now, next. And we have all the colleagues also here who are going to be sitting next. I don't know, what is the plan, Kavya?
Manoj, can I ask one more?
Yeah.
Just last one.
Go ahead. And I'm around here, so please feel free to ask questions, and so is a lot of my colleagues here.
I promise only last question. So it's a system of record. I heard this word like 3 or 4 times, right? But is there a vision that it will spit out code like a no-code system at some point in time, that because you have done these hooks conceptually from capabilities to features to microservices, which also means that the hooks that connects these or an API or whatever, is there like a vision to spit out some basic framework and code and object models that you could kind of build on top of? Is that part of the vision, or is it just system of record and communications?
So let me just understand this question. So one is just the product part hierarchy. So that's one, which is there is dev parts, there is rev parts, that hierarchy as a whole. We today are going to go and connect with your code and try to really bring as much as possible in this product part hierarchy. We also read all these APIs and we club them together to really build the feature. So there is a lot of machine learning as well as code analysis that is happening. So that's something that definitely we are doing, but it will continue to improve.
Yeah, maybe one thing, Bhavana, you might want to talk about workflows, because at the core of a lot of this is automation. And there's no automation, there's no convergence without a workflow engine, which is where a lot of things. So maybe Bhavana, speak a few things about workflows as well.
So when we talk about business processes, right? I mean, you think about mid-market and enterprise. Business processes and automation is absolutely crucial. But even for a small company, if you think about, I think we had that slide up there that said about maybe 10 different tools, but there's work happening in different places, like GitHub. So GitHub is an integration that we obsess over, right? So essentially when developers are working on code and committing it and pushing it to deployment, so we bring all of that into the system, right? So those are all automations and flows. That is only on the dev side, but imagine also on the rev side, when metrics come in, when usage metrics, engagement metrics, all of those come back into flows, right? So flows becomes like the glue into all of this.
And maybe you talk about like Salesforce integration and Circle CI integration, like all sorts of connectors that
Yeah.
you're building around.
Yeah. So you saw the 4 quadrants. There is build and operate and support and grow. And it's kind of life cycle, right? So you build a product, you operate in the cloud, you support customers, and you grow revenue. So each of those has value in bringing data over. So the first thing is, how do you bring that data? And then essentially connect it to the core of DevRev, which is the work that happens, which is the products that they're building. which is the users, whether it's the developers or whether it's the customers. So essentially, if you're bringing data, whether it is on the GitHub side or the Salesforce side, which revenue comes in, customers come in, or whether it's Datadog, where you have alerts come in, or whether it is support, where you could have like a WhatsApp conversation that's happening. So all of these events that are coming in across the ecosystem, we'd like to bring that over and essentially attribute it to the core of DevRev, which is the work transactions, which is the product, and the identity on both sides.
Right. We are definitely available, so ask more questions. And with that, let me invite Prithvi. Come on in, Prithvi.